The enemy of my enemy is my friend, Bo-Katan Kryze. Civil war has come to Mandalore. With the death of Pre Vizsla and Bo-Katan's rejection of the new power dynamic, the Death Watch has split in half and is taking Mandalore and the neutral systems down with it. The enemy of my enemy is my friend. Damn it.
We open into Season 5, Episode 16, The Lawless, with members of Clan Kryze attempting to rescue the Duchess from prison. Satine is able to call for help, and there's a trap set for our master, Obi-Wan Kenobi.
Welcome to Talk About Tatooine. I'm Andrew.
I'm Nathan.
And we're twin brothers here to bring you what's new in nerddom and give colorful commentary on our favorite subjects. Welcome to our cantina. Grab a drink and settle in as we set course for realities beyond our own.
Welcome, everybody, to episode 147. Today's recording date is March 26th. Sorry, we pushed it back a day, so almost messed that one up, but I recovered pretty expertly. And this episode will be released on Monday, the 30th. Hit that like and subscribe and join the Silly Goose Brigade.
Doesn't matter if you've been in the fandom for 10 years or 10 seconds, you are welcome here, and we are so happy you've decided to join us.
So, we're going to start off with our weekly reminder to read a book. If you guys want to hear us talk a little bit more about books that don't fall into our normal fandoms, subscribe to our Patreon, where this week Andrew talks about his time reading The Separation of Church and Hate. So, a little bit more on topic as well. Andrew, thanks for sharing that in our Patreon episode, by the way. Andrew, I know you've finished the book. I'm still working through the Red Rising book, Dark Age. And every section I get through, which I think they do them in like 2 to 3 chapter increments, like focusing on each character, I get a little bit more traumatized each time. And
yes,
it's hurting.
The summary I gave to my wife, I first said, you will hate this, you will not enjoy it. Also, I am a shattered, broken shell of a man after reading this book. Did I immediately check out Lightbringer after I finished it? Of course I did. I'm no quitter, but I am a husk of a man now. I'm just shattered inside. There were so many times, I don't know if you have gotten to this part, but if I say the tree, do you know what I'm talking about?
No, I just got past the point where the Askamani have just basically entered the setting.
Yes, they are so scary. They're like
super
crazier.
Yo, God. Scary boys.
They make Sephi and the Skoogie look like children. They are actual living monsters. And they scare the crap out of me. They are so scary. And even on the other end of the spectrum, what's the group of Reds that is like absolutely just going crazy and is like terrorizing like villages and like killing people?
That is the Red
again?
Hand, led by Harmony.
They're terrible.
Yeah, they're pretty bad.
They are the most. They're in my opinion, they are worse than the Askamani. Not by much, but it's
they're
truly
traumatizing.
Yeah. I can't really say a lot more without spoiling it for you, but you guys in the comments, you know what's up.
I think that someday we will need to go and do a Red Rising series review. What is it? Red Gods got pushed back, so I think we should
Red God,
excuse me, got pushed back, and so I think we should wait until the entire series is out. But it's a 7-part series of increasing length and trauma books. So,
yes, Darrow Olycos certainly has a similar arc to Paul Atreides, where he has started off good, and he is not really recognizable as a good person at this point. He is slaying his enemies, and the collateral damage is unbelievable. Like with the...
That makes me really nervous to get to the rest of the book.
Yeah. You got to the point with the weather machines, right?
I forgot. They gave them like a weird name, but like the one blue, I can't remember her name. I think it's Orion. or his
Yeah,
name, Orion. I'm not sure if it's a
Orion goes bananas.
Yeah, and kind of causes the day after tomorrow. Yeah,
Kind of does a little genocide with storm machines.
yeah, a little bit. Terraforming machines. So those are super cool though. Not gonna lie. Oof.
Yeah, not even in the top 5 most traumatic things in the book.
Yeah, 100%. They flood like half of Mercury, and they're like, but don't worry about it. It's fine.
It's really something, and I am dead inside. So anyway, we should move on. Let's see. We have a Patreon question for this week. A member of our Patreon sent us a question, and we will answer them. You guys can send us questions, too, over at our email, talkabouttatooine@gmail.com. But this one is from our Patreon Discord. As a person who hasn't watched all of Clone Wars, how does Maul go from his role as Sith assassin to crime lord? Nathan, do you want to start us off?
Well, first of all, you gotta have some witches in your back pocket. Dang it! You gotta know some witchy girls. Find your nearest crystal gazing guru, and she's gonna perform some dark magic on you. Basically, she's gonna give you new legs. Then you're gonna go from, let's say, dark side induced insanity to a little bit of a rampage. A short revenge tour that doesn't work out super well, but also somebody that needs to gather power in and around kind of the ongoing civil war that's happening. Not a civil war, excuse me, that's technically later, but the Clone Wars that's happening.
At this point, I think it is fair to call what's happening on Mandalore a civil war.
Sorry, I'm referring to civil war as the galaxy-wide conflict that's happening everywhere else.
Oh, yes, the galactic civil war between the Alliance to restore the Republic and the Galactic Empire.
Yes. Not the Republic and the Separatists. That's an actual war.
Correct. I mean, that's called the Clone Wars, but isn't that also a civil war? Because there are quite a few Republic planets that are like, peace, and just disappear into the hedges, you know?
I mean, on the galaxy-wide scale, that's why, we went to war, is half of the systems wanted to get away from the other half. Whether or not their intentions were the same, they kind of were. The Separatists were slavers in some areas, so that's not great. But
yeah, a planet's right to do what?
States' rights.
I know, because you had planets like Sereno, where that's actually where Dooku's from, and they're like, hey, we kind of just want to be our own thing. Like, a lot of the people there suck because they're rich, so that makes them their own, sort of awful. But then there were the Zygerians who neatly fit in with the Separatists, and that's very telling about the Separatists themselves, that they saw a group of slavers and were like, yeah, you can join us. I don't see any compatibility problems with that. And it's yeah, that a single apple ruins the barrel, you know?
Oh yeah. But I mean, that's essentially how it happens. Maul tries to take over Mandalore and does so by faking an invasion and then bringing about a coup. And that's kind of where we end up in this episode.
If you are following along at home, today's episode, like we said, is covering Star Wars The Clone Wars Season 5, Episode 16, The Lawless. This is the final episode in this little arc, based on some Star Wars news that actually came out, I think 2 days ago or something, and Maul Shadow Lord's impending release. We are probably not going to get to the Siege of Mandalore before Maul Shadow Lord, so maybe we'll have to go back to that.
Such a great
later.
problem to have. Ugh.
It's a great problem. We went from earlier this year, oh man, what are we going to write about, to actually we got to bump a bunch of episodes back because we have too much stuff coming down the pipeline. So if you guys want to hear more about Star Wars Zero Company, make sure to like and subscribe so you hear the news, because we're going to be talking about that next week.
Super excited for that. Cannot wait.
All right, starting off, Satine, man, I'm going to mix Sabine and Satine up a whole lot. It's going to happen a bunch.
I can keep a counter if you want.
That might be helpful, actually. So Satine is in jail. She's been jailed by Death Watch, and some people come to rescue her, one of which being a little blonde teenager. They manage to overpower the Mandalorian guard and break Satine out of jail. This child, his name is Corky. He is the Duchess's nephew. Let's see. let's see. This kid Corky is brought up in House Kryze as I'm going to spoil one of the other things I'm going to say. He's a Kryze kid, but he's not Bo-Katan's kid. So Satine and Bo-Katan have a third sibling that we never meet.
Or do they?
They do, because, well, or do they? Because the question is, actually, is that blonde kid the child of Satine and Obi-Wan?
That's a pretty messed up thing to be like, this is actually my nephew and not my son. There is no blonde child in Ba Sing Se. That's pretty crazy.
Oh my God, what are the Dai Li doing here?
Can I say something kind of interesting here for a second?
Interesting is, say it.
So, with some context, every time we are going through this arc and we see the crowd of people, do you happen to notice how every single one of those people are animated?
If the sun were to shine on the city of Mandalore, they would all get a sunburn within 10 minutes.
Holy Aryan State, Batman. Oh my goodness. Which doesn't make any sense. Every single person we see on Mandalore is a white, blonde-haired person. And I'm like, you guys didn't need to do that, especially since there's a strong precedent for not every Mandalorian being blonde. Bo-Katan has red hair. The Ren clan is dark-haired. Like, you have so many different people in Mandalorian society, especially since Mandalorian society is also famous for adopting people. So why would they all look the same? It doesn't make sense.
I mean, I'm going to give them a huge benefit of the doubt and say that, like, it's just lazy animating. They're like, hey, if we just put the same
because the
color
assets
palette
can
on
literally
everyone.
be reused. 100%. I think that's it. It's hopefully not Disney pushing for an Aryan ethno state.
Well, no. Like a lot of people complain about like, oh, Disney's too woke. It's like, okay, well, Disney, the man, is also like hella racist. He's a bad guy. Like, he's a known anti-Semite and a racist. So like, maybe having some people in color is like the bare minimum. And I don't think there's a single person of color in this entire episode. And I feel like, oh, well, it was so long ago, and it's like, it kind of wasn't. It's a pretty low bar, and they don't even hit it. Like, it doesn't make sense that as large of a city as that is, that there would be not a single person who isn't white.
Yeah, it's like, it's not great. But no, to answer your original question, other than me being way too focused in these scenes on the entire crowd, no, I don't think that is Satine's child. I think that's pushing it. And again, I just think that's like kind of messed up.
I think it is. So the canon around this is that Corky is Satine's nephew, right? But since I'm out here spreading rumors, I think this is absolutely the child of Obi-Wan and Satine, and the Duchess like actually used her influence to have Corky brought up in House Kryze, because like it's still her house, as if it was the child of Satine's other unnamed sibling. Just to clarify, like I said, Bo-Katan isn't. It's not Bo-Katan's kid.
This is a message for Obi-Wan Kenobi. I've lost Mandalore. My people have been massacred, and Olmec is now the Prime Minister. I can't explain everything now, but Olmec has the support of the crime families. Obi-Wan, I need your help.
Your thoughts on this, Master Kenobi?
Satine has been at odds with the Death Watch for years. And according to a report from Padawan Tano, they are no longer in league with the Separatists. If there was a takeover on Mandalore, it was most likely an independent act, caused by the Death Watch alone.
Without involvement from the Separatists, this is an internal affair for the Mandalorians. I'm afraid we cannot help.
We cannot just hand Mandalore over to these crime families and let Satine become a martyr.
I'm afraid her decision to keep Mandalore neutral makes this situation difficult.
Understand your feelings, I do, Obi-Wan. But to take action, support from the Republic Senate, we will need.
You know what the Senate will decide. They will not send aid to a neutral system.
At this time, nothing more can we do.
At this point, the Jedi Council is talking about whether or not they should help Mandalore. And they're like, I don't know, man. And this is a little weird. We're going to talk about it a little bit more. But like the Jedi answer to the Senate, and this is like how we know that Star Wars is a work of fantasy, because we see that the executive branch is being held accountable to the legislature. Like, that's a joke, but also like the Jedi shouldn't be
we got him,
the executive branch of the government. Like, can you imagine if we had wizard cops and their only acknowledgement to like not taking over everyone is just like because we're peaceful monks, but we also carry around laser swords? Like, come on. The fact that the Jedi don't massively abuse their power is kind of surprising. And well, I mean, some of them do, but for the most part, most of them don't. But when a Jedi does abuse their power, it is almost always deadly for someone.
More like someone's, usually lots of people. So I have a more kind of maybe straightforward answer here. I don't think the Republic likes Mandalore. I think, why would they like Mandalore? In canon, and especially in Legends, the Republic and Mandalorians do not get along. So what would be especially since they're a neutral system, they know that like Mandalore is like the head of a bunch of neutral systems. There's not an incentive there. They're not going to switch over and be like, we're going to support the Republic. Because they've already stated that they're not going to support the Republic. Because then it brings them under separatist fire as well. They have a lot riding on them being neutral. And again, I think combined that with the history, the Republic has no reason to go help them. And I totally get it. They're like, yep, man, something bad is happening on another country. I get it. But also it's like, it's not the Republic's responsibility to help a planet when they can barely manage a war on their own front. Like, that seems to be not the best use of resources.
Yeah, and I think the part that bothers me the most is like Ki-Adi-Mundi being one of the council members present in this conversation just unilaterally makes that decision, because he must just be so entrenched in like the Republic politics. He's like, I know this is not going to go over well if we send Jedi support to the Mandalorian people, so we're just not going to. What are your opinions on Mr. Conehead?
Maybe a hot take here. Maybe our fans and all those 7 people watching our videos really like Ki-Adi-Mundi. But the few episodes he's in, I do not care for him. Do not care for him one bit. I think he's kind of annoying. I think his takes are bad, and I think he is literally just meant to be a plot point speed bump.
Yeah, that's a good way of putting him. He sucks. I don't like him. The last time he was shown on screen, he's also actively discouraging the Jedi from like helping other people out. I think it was when Maul first shows up and slaughters that village. Ki-Adi-Mundi is like, should you really like go out and help him, or like, what are you doing, man?
Hey, man, that's your mortal enemy.
Yeah,
what are you doing?
It's literally the Sith. Like, Ki-Adi-Mundi seems overly concerned when, like, the Wookiees needed help because they're a Republic planet when they're invaded by the CIS. But God forbid they lift a finger to help Mandalore when a literal Sith Lord, their mortal enemy, is trying to take over a world of warrior clans in lightsaber-proof armor. Because, like, Ki-Adi-Mundi is not weighing the benefits and risks. He's like, well, if we don't help Mandalore, then we don't have to help them. It's like, well, what are the risks? The risks are the Mandalorians turning against the Republic. That's the risk. That is an existential threat to the Republic. If the neutral systems and the Mandalorian clans rose up against the Republic, which they have done in the past, they would fall even faster than they did to Palpatine. I'm like, you 100%. Guys, what are you, like, even if they are neutral, just make friends with them, please. Come on.
Mandalorians are also very adept at killing Jedi, so like, maybe don't piss them off. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe don't piss them off. And like, I know it's a kid's show, and I'm getting literally too upset. I need to calm down about something that doesn't matter. But god damn, Come on.
We then get to the point where, because the plot must move forward, that Obi-Wan infiltrates Mandalore in a very familiar way. I mean, Andrew, what goes on here next?
So this sequence, this next like 5 to 10 minutes in the episode, is supposed to directly mirror A New Hope. So Satine escapes from her jail, and she gets out of whatever cell phone blocker range that she's in, and she sends a message. And here we see Satine send out the bat signal. She says, "Help me, Obi-Wan Kenobi, you're my only hope." She doesn't say verbatim that, but she literally says, "Obi-Wan, you're the only one who can save me."
She's so close to saying it. She's so close. And I thought the exact same thing. I was like, first of all, iconic line. Not even mad that they tried to do it again. But also I'm like,
the thing.
You should have done it. You should have sent it. Because there's probably a generation of Star Wars kids watching this that are like, yeah, I didn't watch the old ones. They're too old.
They're so good, though. Not a lot of movies from the 70s and 80s hold up. I feel like Star Wars does a really good job. Is there a little bit of bias there? 100%. But also, like, they did a pretty good job. Yeah. So, at this moment, Obi-Wan Kenobi lands on Mandalore in his busted-ass ship. And you know what he does? Is he doesn't actually fake repairs. Like, the ship is actively falling apart. And he's like, hey, can you help me fix something? The Mandalorian who, greets him goes up into his ship. And then he incapacitates the Mandalorian and takes his armor. Which, I should note, it is reasonable to assume that Mandalorian is unconscious in his ship when it then later in the episode is destroyed. He's dead. That is a dead Mando.
Ah, boy.
Oh, no. And, literally, again, that's exactly what he does in A New Hope. That's actually what Han and Luke do because, old Ben, he's like, I am literally too old to squeeze myself into Stormtrooper armor. I'm just going to walk around in my robes. Thank you. I'm going to walk around in my jammies.
Screw you guys. I'm staying comfy.
I do love that Anakin's dumpster ship is destroyed. Dude, that ship was fugly. Fun fact, we also had a car that was borrowed by a sibling and then subsequently wrecked. Public service announcement, don't text and drive. Or in this case, don't get rear-ended by someone texting and driving. So,
So at some point here, I kind of skipped around in the episode because, like an idiot, I watched this over the course of multiple days. Obi-Wan gets captured. Is that before or after the next bullet point?
So Bo-Katan does rescue Kenobi out of his imprisonment. So that's later. That's later.
Okay, so I definitely wrote some of these notes out of order. So we can move on to the next point because I have some other things I'd like to say about Bo-Katan.
Right. So Obi-Wan is able,
of course.
Yes. Obi-Wan is able to infiltrate Mandalore for about 30 seconds before he is immediately captured and brought before Maul, and who is also holding Satine captive in the air by a forced chokehold. It's not very PG. Nathan, what happens next?
Everyone's heart gets broken. Duchess Satine gets killed here. It's not super great. And this is genuinely a well-written moment, but also incredibly sad because this is the worst-case scenario for Obi-Wan because he's like, he would have rather died so that she could have lived. And Maul knows that, and he's like, yo, check this out, and kills her. And that's terrible for Obi-Wan. And he does stay strong. He does not fall to the dark side. I then commented, that's my space Jesus.
Yeah, at this point, Obi-Wan is at peace with his own death. He sees it coming. He understands. He's like, Maul is going to torture me. He's starting off with the emotional torture and grief of killing the woman I love, and which is devastating. It's really he's going to do it, and it's like, man, that sucks. But again, this is very similar to Obi-Wan Kenobi's sacrifice in A New Hope, where like when his mission is done, he just holds his sword up and he lets Vader kill him. He's like, I'm not needed anymore. I can be at peace. And that's kind of what we're also seeing from Obi-Wan here. I mean, just the parallels to Episode 4 or the original they're so good. So let's see. So, and it makes it all the more powerful when Maul like keeps him alive to rot in his sorrow, because he's like Obi-Wan is like, actually can't suffer if you're dead, and which is why Maul keeps him alive in the first place, which in the long run we know that like Obi-Wan escapes and eventually leads to the downfall of Maul, which like at this point Maul should have just killed Obi-Wan, but that's not what he's there for. His revenge has to be more involved than just cutting off Obi-Wan's head. He has to make him suffer. Because he's rotten to the core. Maul is, you know? One of the quotes from Obi-Wan really stuck with me, though. He says, "You can kill me, but you will never destroy me. It takes strength to resist the dark side. Only the weak embrace it." To which Maul replies, "It is more powerful than you know." And Obi-Wan, he stands on business. He says, "And those who oppose it are more powerful than you'll ever be." And so passes the last peaceful monarch of Mandalore.
Sorry, I had to make sure I clicked back on screen before I muted myself. So at this point, we start to get into kind of building up Maul's story again. So at this point, we actually see Sidious show up for honestly one of the first times we ever get to see him in combat as far as like chronological order, and it's amazing.
Yeah, why does Sidious show up? Can you give our listeners just a little quick rundown how that happens?
So Daddy Darkseid essentially shows up on Mandalore because he gets word that Maul is back on Mandalore.
He doesn't just get word though. He senses Maul's return through.
Oh, is that what it is?
He's alone in a room. He summons Mos Amida, and he just says, "Get my ship."
I love that. Fantastic. Oh, this is kind of an action-packed episode. This is kind of one of the few kind of like two-parters that we actually get in this show, which is very fun because it is intense. I'm trying to remember where in the episode that happens.
It's right after Satine's death. Satine dies. We cut to Sidious on Coruscant. He senses Maul's... Essentially, Maul, at this point, has gained enough power to where he is now a blip on Palpatine's radar, and Palpatine's like, I have to take care of him now. The narrative at this point splits between Obi-Wan trying to escape and getting rescued, and then Palpatine showing up on Mandalore. So these things are now happening in parallel after Satine's death, and these two plot lines do not touch at this point.
Yes, they start to diverge. And then, honestly, we get some of the coolest lightsaber fighting we get to see in the Clone Wars. I mean, just watching him go, like, basically just manhandle these two. I mean, at one point, Sidious gets... Do we want to call it a horn tackle? Savage basically horn tackles him off the edge. He spins and then basically is like, haha, and he force pulls both Savage and Maul off of the landing and pulls them down with him, just to show kind of like how much battlefield control he has.
While cackling.
Yeah, he's just like doing the maniacal laughter. Yeah, the whole time. It's fantastic.
Yeah, the power disparity between Maul and Savage and Palpatine is intense. It's not even a challenge for him. And like Sidious is like, the first thing he says to him, like, he doesn't waste a lot of time doing some like, you know, evil monologue. So like the reason that Sidious is able to basically like walk in unopposed to confront Maul and Savage, like since we know the future and the past, we know the Republic doesn't want to help Mandalore, right? So it's probably the same reason the CIS gathered so much support. Therefore, Sidious is basically able to stroll on through because Mandalore is in shambles. Like, Maul's gang of Death Watch is still working on, like, securing the city. Like, there's not really a lot of guards around. Like, I think there's only 1 or 2 guards between where Sidious lands and the throne. Like, they are light on people at this moment. And that's how Sidious logistically is essentially able to confront these two in private. Like, he doesn't have, like, an honor guard or anything. And he's just like, yeah, here we go. And, like, it's so good. Because, like, when he lands on the planet and he walks out of the shuttle, which is akin to him walking out of the shuttle the first time we see him in The Empire Strikes Back, we get notes of Palpatine's theme inside the soundtrack. And it's so good. It's just, I'm like, oh, these guys are going to die. Like, they are, like, the nails are being driven into their coffin as we speak. And like you said, the showdown is just amazing. But right before that, so Sidious, he comes in and Maul is like, oh, shit.
Oh, immediately. And he's like, he's like, I have one way out of this. One way.
Begging and groveling.
And it does not work. But he's basically like, I'm effed in this moment, which I wish they would have animated Savage with a little bit more surprise on his face. Like, because you can tell that he's like kind of surprised, but I wanted him to like just be like super confused. I also love that this is like kind of the first time we see Sidious enforce the role of 2 directly. Like he doesn't send Dooku to go do it for him like he did with Asajj, which again I'm kind of considering to be indirect, but he's like, nope, I'm gonna go deal with this myself. Oh no, wait, actually no. Hold on, do you have this later? No, you have this for a different guy. Maul would kill Dooku. 100% he would win. I think if Sidious sent Dooku to go kill Maul, Dooku would have died.
Yeah, I think it's no question about that one. We don't even need to discuss it. Maul would absolutely win in a fight against Dooku. Because, like, that's not Dooku's purpose, is to be his successor. Dooku is absolutely a placeholder the entire time he is there. He is meant to lead the Separatists. He is meant to be a shadow figurehead and the puppet for the actual puppet master, who is Sidious. And Sidious is like, yeah, actually, I'm grooming your replacement this entire time. Like, I'm gonna take this family murdering freak over here, who somehow is still in the Jedi Order, and I'm going to immediately flip him to the dark side. It's not even gonna be hard.
It's gonna kind of happen on its own, really, if you think about it.
And then we get this awesome, just like one sentence of like Sidious who just says, you have become a rival. And this is when the fight starts. He lashes out with the Force and he's able to pick up 2 extremely strong Force users, Maul and Savage, and throw them against the glass. And that is when the fight commences. And this is probably when Savage is like, oh shit, we're in danger, because he's like kind of an idiot. He's like, between Asajj, Dooku, Maul, Savage, and Sidious, out of all of these Sith characters and Sith light characters that we experienced throughout the Clone Wars, Savage is at the bottom of the power list. He is like F tier. He's the dumbest. He's the stupidest. He's just a brute. That is his only purpose.
Yeah, it's a little bit of a bummer there. What a great line, though, from Sidious. You are a rival. I'm like, that's so good.
That was pretty good. That was nice.
I would make a pretty good Sith Lord, I'm just saying. Andrew, during this fight, what happens to Savage?
So he gets he gets separated from Maul. So Maul kind of gets knocked out for a little bit because, you know, Sidious just flings him across the room. And the moment Savage is alone with Palpatine, it's clearly over for him. Like, Savage is kind of flailing around. He's still dazed from like whatever, like Palpatine kind of cleans his clock a little bit, and then he just gets destroyed. Palpatine doesn't even do him like the respect of facing him when he kills him. He just like does this crazy ass moonwalk and just puts 2 holes in him. Another entry in the inconsistent stab wounds in Star Wars.
Yeah, my note for this was not safe for work, so I don't think I'm going to mention it here in the podcast.
No, yeah, because Sidious has 2 lightsabers, so we could pretty fairly call it
Double penetration.
Yeah, he's penetrated twice with lightsabers. Yeah, that happens.
Oh, damn. I already got the email from YouTube that said we got demonetized. That's crazy.
That's funny because we're not monetized.
If we were, though.
Like and subscribe. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, if the Jedi used their lightsabers like sling blades and not like fencing foils, there'd be a lot more character deaths. None of this stabbing and neatly retracting the blade out through the same hole. Stab, rip upward. No question.
Or downwards. Or literally in any other direction than just straight out of the wound you already created.
Do what Cal Kestis and Starkiller do to the NPCs in their respective games. But you won't, well, you can't. You cannot do that level of violence and have a not TV MA.
Which I would love. Do you know what Sidious should have done in this? Do you know what would have been even more disrespectful?
I do not.
Double stab wound into bisecting at the waist.
Ooh. Be like, well, your master survived this wound, but he wouldn't survive this, and stabs him. It's also really, really interesting because, like, as soon as, like, Savage is dying, he just starts leaking that green Night Sister ichor immediately. And, like, it's like, well, he's cooked. He's done. That balloon is popped. He's done.
The vessel integrity is down to 0. And I mean, at this point, we do get a really cool 2-on-2 lightsaber fight. Sidious has 2 lightsabers. Maul whips out the dark saber, so they're fighting 2 blades against 2 blades. Super cool. Before we get to your next question, which is what did Sidious mean by I have other plans for you while he cackles and shocks him with lightning, do you notice what's in the background in this scene?
No, I didn't. No.
So they're at this point they are fighting in front of a mural, and it is a mural of Mandalorians fighting Jedi.
Oh, I didn't notice that. That's so cool.
And the Jedi look scared
because is it now canon that the Mandalorian Civil War with the Jedi, the one that like almost shattered the Republic before Knights of the Old Republic, the game like 20 years ago? That's the conflict they're muralizing, correct?
I think so. If Thrawn were here, he would have words about how this reflects the history of the Mandalorian people.
Oh, I love Thrawn so much.
I haven't made a Thrawn reference in a while. This is fantastic. But I thought you might be interested in that because, like, the Jedi, they look super awkward in the paintings. Like, the art style is, like, super weird. They have, like, weird upside-down faces. They look like they're in terror. But they're obviously holding lightsabers. And then on the right side of the mural, there is a bunch of Mandalorians pointing weapons at them.
Yes, and they viciously kill them.
Yeah, pretty much.
So Satine is more than happy to lead a pacifist world, but doesn't take down this super warmongering mural. I'm sure there's no parallels to the United States at all, and not taking down some of our racist-ass monuments and memorials. Anyway.
As you may have heard, there is a lot going on between the US and the Middle East, specifically with Israel and Iran. Here at Talk About Tatooine, we like to keep ourselves informed and up to date on goings-on. We see time and time again how propaganda is used against the people in our favorite fictional universes and how it's being used here as well. That's why we use Ground News, a sponsor that we sought out so that we can stay informed and help our neighbors and stay above all of the misinformation. With factuality scores and biased distributions, Ground News does the hard work to analyze the articles, identify bias, and let you know if what you are reading is trustworthy. Check out Ground News today so you can stay up to date, and please support our podcast by using the link in the description. Greetings, my caffeine queens and kings. As by royal decree, I do bequeath upon my subjects the gift of the magic bean. This glorious potion will bring us to victory. I have ordered the storehouses open and Javi coffee concentrate to be consumed post-haste. For all your coffee needs this season, Javi is for you. Need a last-minute stocking stuffer? Javi has multiple products alongside their flagship coffee concentrates, including protein powders, coffee syrups, collagen syrups, and, well, that's about it, but that covers quite a lot. Tuck into some holiday flavors like s'mores, peppermint mocha, or sugar cookie. Use this code on screen to support us on the podcast, as well as get a discount on your next order. Javi is ultra convenient, ultra versatile, ethically sourced, and has a tremendous variety and an excellent shelf life. Now, my lords and ladies, back to the show.
What did Maul know about the fall of the Republic?
So I think Maul, so he does mention that, like, so it began without me. I think Maul knew that Sidious was planning a war. And maybe he knew about the clones. Maybe he knew about Sifo-Dyas. Maybe he knew that the Separatists were going to fight the Republic. Maybe he knew a lot of that. But he didn't know a couple of things. I think he didn't know about the psycho conditioning or brain chips. I don't think he knew about that. I think that's a Palpatine special, because why would he tell him? That's literally his insurance policy. I don't think he knew about Anakin, because that would be weird. You're like, hey man, I'm going to make sure this war goes off without a hitch so my master can replace me. Yeah, there's no chance. I think that the entire time Maul is thinking, I'm going to inherit the title, which again is kind of the best case scenario for Palpatine, because he's like, hey, I've already got this kid ready and I'm grooming him. Super gross, super nasty, but that's essentially what he's doing. Not for like sex weird shit, but like for...
It's just murder and genocide.
It's just murder. Just murder. So he's like, hey, I have my eye on this one thing, but like, hey, he also, like, there's a chance that like Anakin wouldn't survive. And if theoretically Maul was still there, that's still a really good apprentice. So I think, again, Sidious is like, hey, I'm going to see, because truly it's like whichever one is better is going to be my apprentice in the end, right? Whoever's stronger is going to make it. Only the strong survive. And it's going to go great for him until he got cut in half. And the Clone Wars still had to proceed. So, again, I think in the world where we believe that, like, George Lucas had a little bit more writing ability, I think in that world, Sidious would have been surprised. Because he does say, I'm impressed you survived your injuries. I think he would have been surprised when Maul died in the first place, because he's like, man, he was really useful. That's a bummer. And then had to go about finding a new apprentice. Maybe he was already starting, he had leads, I don't know. But I think that was not the original intent, was for Dooku to be there. I think Dooku, again, like you said earlier, he's just a placeholder.
Let's see. So the next question we have is actually directed towards the future. We're going to be talking a little bit about what we think about what's going to go on in Maul Shadow Lord. Will Maul take a new apprentice? In my opinion, I feel like he can't help himself. I think the benefits in this case outweigh the risks. While he might be actively raising someone who might kill him, if we also ignore that we know the future and that he dies from Obi-Wan, he gets an incredibly powerful ally out of it. And like, Force users are incredibly strong. It's why when we picked our parties in Knights of the Old Republic and Knights of the Old Republic 2, we just mained Jedis the entire time, because like, why would you pick a droid who can't use the Force? Like, they're just missing an entire set of abilities. Like, it makes more sense to just use Force users. Also, the lightsaber does so much damage, and it's really easy to just, like, run up to somebody and cut them in half.
Oh no, he's dead. So I actually think... Oh, I'm sorry. The caffeine is wearing off. No, I don't think...
Lock in!
I know. I don't think Maul is going to take an apprentice. I think that he might try, but I think he's going to fail. Because by the time we see Maul re-enter the setting in Rebels, which is the last act of his story, he does not have an apprentice. He tries to get Ezra to be his apprentice, and it does not work. So I think by this point, he's unsuccessful in gaining an apprentice.
And we don't think that I think the Jedi, the young Jedi that he meets in the Maul trailer will, he will try to make her his apprentice. I mean, it's not going to work out because like Maul is a terribly dangerous person, and like I don't think if this young Jedi whose name is Devin Izara, if she doesn't say yes, Maul will kill her.
Yeah, 100%. Also, just a point for Shadow Lord, and I know we're going to talk about this more, so hopefully I actually remember my take on this. They need to stop introducing Jedi that survived the Purge. They just need to stop doing it. Every time you introduce a Jedi that survived the Purge, it weakens the effect of the trauma, because you're like, don't worry, like 36 of these guys actually survive. And it wasn't as effective as we originally thought. Whereas like in episode 3, we are led to believe that there's like 5 Jedi left out of like thousands. And then every time they release something, they're like, well, don't forget about Kanan, and then Ezra, and then kind of Sabine. And well, like Ahsoka survives. I love Ahsoka. She is, I hope she lives forever.
She's not a Jedi.
Well, yeah, she's not a Jedi anymore. But like, again, Force users that are not aligned with the dark. So you have that. You have Cal Kestis. You have now more Jedi that are surviving. It's like, okay, like, well, did they get them all or did they not get them all? Like, I know like the Inquisitorius is basically it's their job to hunt down Jedi, but again, I'm kind of like, I feel like you guys didn't do a great job at this at all, but okay.
Well, in the Inquisitorius, they are like up and running as soon as like Vader and Sidious take power, which means that there's a large amount of Jedi that like just defected to the Empire, like right away.
100%.
Right?
Yeah.
They're like, actually, we don't want to die.
I don't think they got defected. I think they were interrogated first and then turned to the dark side.
Which is a
side.
Sure. What I actually think that's a really interesting plot point. But like, there are enough Jedi to where we're at the point where I don't really care if they keep introducing new Jedi. Like, if they're like, oh, here's just like 100 random Jedi that we found, like, hey, yeah, that's going to be like, that does cheapen it a bit. But allegedly there were thousands and thousands of Jedi. So to have at this point like 36-ish people who survive, that is still a drop in the bucket. Like, we went from 1 drop in the bucket to 2 or 3 drops in the bucket. It's still nothing. And it's still, because we know that like Vader takes the 19 years between the fall of the Republic and the Battle of Yavin hunting down Jedi. That's a long time. Like, even if you assume 1 Jedi a year, that's still 19 Jedi that he kills. Like,
that's a lot.
I don't know. It's a lot. It's like so in a way, we already knew that there were a lot of survivors, but percentage-wise, a lot is misleading, because numerically, yeah, there might be a lot of survivors, but percentage-wise, we're still looking at 98% of the entire order, 99% of the entire order. It's just like Sidious won completely and utterly, like with those numbers.
Yes, 100%. I mean, like, that's, yeah, he did really well. If it was a homework assignment, he still would have gotten an A. So
an A+, depending on,
they don't give those out. Those aren't even real anymore.
Those aren't real.
God. Moving forward, do you think Maul is going to be worried about Sidious or vice versa?
Potentially. It kind of, we don't know what Sidious and Maul's relationship is at this point. Earlier in the episode, Sidious, after he's done kicking the shit out of Maul, he says, I have other uses for you, and fills him with lightning. We don't know what that means. We just straight up don't know what that means. So it really depends on what Sidious learns from Maul's eventual capture and escape at the Siege of Mandalore. We don't know. Does Sidious think that he is going to die in that encounter? Do we think that, like, Maul setting up his criminal enterprise is actually going to be helpful for the Republic? We just don't know. I think at this point I'm leaning towards yes, but I think at some point, if Maul hadn't been killed by Kenobi, Vader would have been sicked on him.
Eventually, yes. Because I'm hoping that in Maul Shadow Lord, we see him carve out just a huge slice of the criminal empire and like the Outer Rim.
Again.
Cannot wait. Andrew, do you think Maul and Vader will ever meet?
Here's the thing. It's possible, but incredibly improbable. Similar to our take on Kenobi. In last episode, we predicted that Kenobi is not going to show up in Maul Shadow Lord. I would absolutely say the same thing about Vader. There's no way he's going to make an appearance in this one. It's not his show.
I hope he doesn't. I think, again, I want the focus to be on Maul. I don't really care if, like, I think them showing Jedi in the trailers, I'm already still kind of like, we don't need to see more Jedi. So I hope, unless we get, like, a cool hallway scene, I don't need to see Vader.
Which kind of begs the question, who would win in a fight, Vader or Maul?
Maul, 100%.
Man, I think we've disagreed on almost every question. I feel like the gospel truth would be that Vader would win, but I want to believe that Maul would give him a run for his money. Vader has killed way more Jedi in the galaxy than Maul ever did. And probably has killed more Jedi, including than Palpatine himself. Like, unless you count Maul or Palpatine initiating Order 66, but like Vader has personally slain more Force users than anyone else in the galaxy. There's no way there's no way Maul walks away from that fight.
See, I think Maul would do great at this point. I think he'd be able to take it out. I think he's all he has going for him is that he's a fantastic fighter. So, and Vader's a good fighter, but Vader's also much slower than Maul.
I mean, but also, like, isn't that the case for most of Vader's fights? Like, the Jedi are typically incredibly fast, but like Vader just swings for the fences and he just batters people down. Like, even when Ahsoka challenges Vader in the Malachor Temple, like, she stands in the way. Ahsoka is incredibly fast. Like, her entire lightsaber style is fast, quick combat, and it's all she can do to hold Vader and keep him at arm's distance. And she loses. The only reason she's still alive is some very dubious magic from Ezra and the World Between Worlds.
Yeah, she does kind of get away with that one. Maybe you're right. Maybe I'm wrong. Still, I think I'm a Maul stan, so I'm here for it.
Yeah, I do love Maul so much. He's has to be one of the coolest characters in Star Wars. Top 5, top 3 even.
Is it time, brother?
For some lore legends.
Hell yeah, brother.
Let's do it.
Let's go. Let me open up my tab. Where are you at? Did you see that I put our items in different areas so we can't see each other's answers?
I've already migrated to a completely different document.
New document. Oh, okay, that's fine. All right, so welcome everybody to Lore or Legends. This is our format where we basically play 2 truths and a lie. If you guys aren't familiar with Star Wars history, everything that is post-Disney purchase of Star Wars is considered lore, and everything that is pre-Disney purchase is now considered legends. So we use that wonderful alliteration to quiz each other on all sorts of nerddom trivia. Andrew, are you ready for your first item?
I am. Your first category is talking trees. There once was the story of an elf by the name of Linnea, who, after being spurned by her lover, and took out vengeance upon him. She was so racked with grief that she ventured to the Manoa tree and sang herself into it. Day and night she casted her lilting spell upon the tree until her body became one with the bark, and so Linnea was no more, but rather she had become one with the Manoa tree and was a sentinel of the forest of Duwelden Varden. That is your first one. Do you recognize what that's from?
That's
right?
from Aragon, yeah.
Yeah.
The inheritance cycle.
The inheritance cycle. The second one is about Ents. There are tales across Middle-earth of walking trees. Preposterous! Nay, the Ent folk of Fangorn Forest are in fact sentient trees. Merry and Pippin even encounter one of the oldest of their kind, an Ent by the name of Treebeard. After seeing the carnage Saruman wrought upon the forest, the Ents themselves marched on the Tower Eisen, while the Uruk-hai marched on Minas Tirith. Third one, the Drengir. Not to be outdone by their fantasy friends, Star Wars also has talking trees. The Drengir, however, are not slow or generally peaceful, but are actually angry, carnivorous trees that were woken up almost at the same time as the great hyperspace disaster aboard a derelict space station. These trees represented an existential threat, and it took many powerful Jedi to hold the line and drive them back.
You're the worst. Okay. So we've got Ents. So you said the Tower Eisen. Did you mean to say Isengard? Is that a synonym?
I think, yeah, the Tower Eisen and Isengard. I think it's the same thing.
Okay, so that's not like...
That's not what's wrong with this.
Okay, I was like, am I being tripped up on titles? Because we call it Isengard. Okay.
Yeah, that might be something I misremembered. So sound off in the comments if I'm an idiot. But don't. I'm sensitive.
He's an idiot. I'm an idiot.
I'm an idiot.
Okay. So first of all, I have not read the Inheritance Cycle in a long time, so rude. But I do remember that there was an elf that basically merged herself with that tree, and that's so, like, it's been so long that I'm not sure about the details on that. Number 2, we're talking about Ents. You got Treebeard in Fangorn Forest. Can you read me that one again?
There are tales across Middle-earth of walking trees. Preposterous. Nay. The Ent folk of Fangorn Forest are in fact sentient trees. Merry and Pippin even encounter one of the oldest of their kind, an Ent by the name of Treebeard. After the carnage Saruman had wrought upon the forest, the Ents themselves marched on Isengard while the Uruk-hai marched on Minas Tirith.
The only thing that I can think that is wrong with this is that maybe there's more Ents in other forests, and it's not just like Fangorn, but again, I have no idea if there are Ents in other places.
I don't know if there are either. So if that is true, that is not what I'm trying to trip you up on.
Cool. What are you trying to trip me up on?
I'm not going to tell you.
Cool. It still hasn't worked yet. Oh, God. So you got the fact that, like, the Drengir are carnivorous. They were woken up on the space station, and I believe, if I remember correctly, they basically used, I want to say, escape pods to get out of the space station and basically contaminate a huge portion of the galaxy. But it's been a minute since I've read those books as well. But they were hard to kill.
I think they were like hyperspace capable escape pods, because like one of the Jedi like falls into one, and then he like is like knocked unconscious, and then he is just on another planet. It almost seemed like he teleported there, but I think it was hyperspace.
Right.
I think.
That leads me to believe that number 1 is the fiction. It is the legend, because I don't know what are wrong with the other 2. They seem like lore to me, so I think I'm going to have to go with the one I'm most uncertain about the facts are, and it's the Duwelden Varden elf tree lady.
That is incorrect. The legend in this case is the Uruk-hai did not march on Minas Tirith.
Oh my God, they marched on Helm's Deep.
Helm's Deep.
Rats. That's so dumb. I'm so mad at you. But that was good. Okay, my score is now 10-9. So I'm coming back to 50%, y'all. All right, Andrew, you ready for yours?
No.
Okay, today's theme is lightsabers. In lore and legends, the Light Whip is a seldom used lightsaber configuration. It features a lightsaber that has no control field around the blade, allowing it to be flexible. The weapon was effective in combat, not because it was a whip, but because it was so rare that most duelists did not know how to counter them. We see Vernestra Rwoh, Mara Jade, and Dathomiri Night Sisters of Legends use this weapon. Item number 2. Jocasta Nu was the guardian of knowledge in the Jedi Temple. She guided generations of Jedi through their studies and sported a yellow lightsaber. Her knowledge of lightsaber combat was limited, so she relied almost exclusively on force combat when the need arose. Item number 3. The double-bladed lightsaber seemed to be a weapon of the dark side. Although some Jedi used it, it came with the connotation of combat. Darth Maul, Savage Opress, and Exar Kun all used double-bladed lightsabers. We even see Jedi General Krell use 2 double-bladed lightsabers on Umbara. The next Jedi we see using this in canon are Jedi Temple guards and several masters who were defeated in Order 66.
So I think I found 2 things that are wrong. One with the first one, one with the third one. But I think you're trying to get me to guess the third one. And here's why. So in the first one, however, you said that the light whip doesn't have a power field. It has to have a power field to exist. It just is a different power field. It's not static. So I think that's wrong. However, in the third one, you said that double-bladed lightsabers are associated with the dark side. That's not true either. Like, there are actually plenty of Jedi who use a double-bladed lightsaber, and it's certain lightsaber forms that are associated with the dark side, not the lightsaber itself. One of those being Vapad, which is Mace Windu's style, which does flirt with the dark side, and most people are like, hey, you probably shouldn't do that, but like, they're not going to tell him to his face because he's Mace Windu, and he's like, he is the most powerful duelist in the Order. So for that reason, I think it's the third one. That's my final answer.
So no, that is incorrect.
Why?
Okay, so seem to be associated with the dark side. Not necessarily that they have to be used with the dark side.
That is semantics. No, that is not, no. I would like to formally appeal.
I said, although some Jedi use it, it came with a connotation of combat because it's...
No, reread exactly what you wrote.
Yeah, the double-bladed lightsaber seems to be a weapon of the dark side. Although some Jedi used it, it came with the connotation of combat.
It seems to be a weapon of the dark side. That is a false statement.
I wouldn't... that's not the point that I'm going for.
But that's still wrong.
I don't think it is. I think the double-bladed lightsabers...
It's totally wrong.
No, again... So I think they're more common among dark side users because again it's
not true.
That I would argue that it is true. There's more Jedi than there are dark side users in general, but I would say that yes, absolutely, like the dark side has a connotation of being based in combat, which again the Jedi are not supposed to be combat focused.
Here's another reason why I think you're wrong is because in the second Darth Bane book, when Darth Bane is training Darth Xana to use a double-bladed lightsaber, he even says that this is a defensive weapon not to be used on the offensive, which offensive is the style of the dark side. That is how they do things. They're not patient hunters. They are incredibly aggressive. So again, I don't think I'm wrong.
I get that. In the spirit of like the episodes that we're covering under Maul in Savage Opress, the lore behind them choosing double-bladed lightsabers is that they're a more unconventional weapon, therefore like more potent in combat because they're harder to defend against. So again, that goes against what we see in the Darth Bane novels. But again, the Darth Bane novels are legends. They're not canon anymore. It is also... But
still, you said the double-bladed lightsaber seems to be a weapon of the dark side, which I don't think is a true statement. That's too subjective for it to be the reason why this is wrong.
So another point that I pulled directly from the wiki that I came up with that sentence is the existence of the double-bladed lightsaber dated back to the mythical Sith Lord Exar Kun of the Queldroma epics. So again, the weapon originated with a dark side user.
But he's not even canon anymore. Like
he is.
I do not agree with the ruling of this. Is the first one wrong?
No, the first one's not wrong either.
What's wrong with the second one then?
Jocasta Nu has a blue lightsaber and doesn't rely on force combat. She actually also has a lightsaber rifle that she uses for combat.
In canon?
Yes.
That's dumb. I don't think I would like to lodge a formal complaint with the advisory board. I don't think that should count against me. I think there were things wrong with all three of those.
Okay, what was wrong with number one?
A lightsaber whip has a containment field.
No, it doesn't.
It's not just loose plasma.
It's not loose plasma, but it doesn't. Let me see. Let's see if let's fact check myself. Was I pulling from the right page? Because there's a good chance I could have pulled this from a Legends page, and then that could have been wrong.
Light whips were heavily modified lightsaber variant with one or more plasma blades and flexible containment shields. So number one's wrong.
You're right. Number one is wrong. So you're going to get
number one was wrong. Number three was wrong.
Yeah, okay. Chill. That's a misread by me. I'm going to give you the point for that.
It was an injustice.
Oh my God. Shut up. You're fine. You missed number three, though. I will stand behind my evidence on that one. Yes, number one technically has a inconsistency in it.
For future reference, your clues needs to be a less subjective items in it. Because we could argue all day about whether or not a double-bladed lightsaber is a dark side weapon, and I don't think I would change my mind.
I didn't say it was exclusively a weapon of the dark side. It has a like Jedi.
basically
I said
did,
in
though.
the following.
You did.
No, in the next
You
sentence,
totally
it
did.
literally says some Jedi used it. So like, I'm not saying it's exclusive. I'm actually saying the opposite.
But you said it seems to be a dark side weapon. That's the part
Because
I had problem
it's
with.
literally famous for being used by Darksiders.
The Jedi Temple Guards would be more well known than them.
No, I'm saying
And Pong Krell started off as a Jedi.
No. To us as fans, like the double-bladed lightsaber is more associated with dark side users than it is light side users.
But that's not how you phrased it.
But that was the intention. That's what I'm going for. So yes, it wasn't.
That's the problem.
I didn't write it out in that much words, but like, yeah, I'm understanding now that like, yes, you have some problems with the phrasing here. But again, I was not trying to say exclusivity. And in there, again, I included a statement right after that, in fact, included Jedi in that statement.
Right, but the whole point of this question is to have just like one little thing that's wrong with the question, and there was a little thing wrong with all three of them. So like, my odds were terrible.
Well, yeah, you're technical by that logic, your odds would have been 0. I gave you the point. Like, I think there's some merit to how I wrote that. Like, that could have been improved. But again, I did say that both Jedi and Sith use this weapon.
Fine.
All right, give me the second one.
I did think that like you were like, oh, Jocasa's new has a yellow lightsaber. I was like, hardly any of the Jedi in the new canon have yellow lightsabers. I was like, that is probably wrong, but I have no idea. She doesn't draw it in the movies, and I don't even think she draws it in the Clone Wars. Like, I don't know.
I think she does. Like, I want to say
shows
there's
up.
one time she draws it. I was mostly thinking you would have gotten that one right because like 100 people posted on our lightsaber video that like the one where we're going back and forth like naming lightsaber variants of people naming Jocasta New's lightsaber rifle. I'm specifically going through that because it's showed up in our notifications like a dozen times.
No, I had no knowledge.
Again,
very much.
My intent was to write that like those two things specifically. Again, in my last couple of Lore of Legends, I've been trying to include multiple things in each wrong answer. I know that you have problems with it. I get it. But again, the intent was that there were two glaringly obvious issues. Not little things, like glaringly obvious. And that's what I was going for.
Okay, her not knowing her lightsaber color is not glaringly obvious.
I mean, I thought it was like common knowledge that she had a blue lightsaber.
No, she doesn't draw it in the movies or the show, like hardly ever. Do you want your second clue?
Yes.
All right, so this one is Council Species of Mass Effect.
Oh,
out of all the species,
I was like, oh god.
Out of all the species considered for the Council, only 3 represent the galactic community before humanity shows up. The first one, Asari. Humans are not the only species that are capable of using biotics. Enter the Asari. As the first Council race, the Asari wield immense influence over the Council races, both socially and militarily. The Asari Dreadnought Destiny Ascension is the flagship of the Citadel fleet and wields immense amount of firepower. Even so, the ship is actually destroyed by Sovereign, and depending on your choices of the player character, can be saved. Then there's the Solarians. Being the second species to join the Council, the Solarians are characterized by their intelligence, slow pace and smooth speech, and easygoing metabolisms that also allow them to be incredibly long-lived. They lean towards fields of science and technology and played a pivotal role in developing the genophage. And then Turians. First Contact. The third Council species is also the first alien society that humans encounter after we discovered our own mass relay inside the Sol system. As you would imagine, this First Contact quickly devolved into an armed conflict that lasted a few months until the rest of the Council stepped in and arbitrated peace.
All right. Was that item number 1 or all 3?
That was all of them.
Oh,
the Asari, the Solarians, and the Turians.
God damn it. Okay, I was like, this is a really long item number 1.
No, we're done.
Okay, so you're splitting the items up into each of those. So the only thing, again, when you mentioned the Council species before humans, I was like, all right, he's going to talk about Solarians, Turians, and Asari. However, I don't know the order that they joined. So I feel pretty confident that
the order that I listed for every single race was the correct order.
Oh, then I have no idea which one of these is wrong. I have no clue. The Destiny Ascension's that big, like, eyeball-looking thing. The Solarians did make the genophage, and the Turians were in the First Contact War. So, can you read me item number 1 again?
Humans are not the only species that are capable of using biotics. Enter the Asari. As the first council race, the Asari wield immense influence over other council races, both socially and militarily. The Asari dreadnought Destiny Ascension is the flagship of the Citadel fleet and wields an immense amount of firepower. Even so, it's destroyed by Sovereign, and depending on the choices of the player character, it can be saved.
Okay. Can you read me that first sentence about biotics again?
Humans are not the only species that are capable of using biotics.
Okay. Not implying that it's only humans and Asari, because other species can also use biotics.
That is correct.
Okay. Because I'm like, that's not exclusive.
What I was implying is that the Asari are really good biotics.
Yes, they are. They're the best. Oh, God. So this is going to have to be a guess from me, because I can't find anything wrong with that first one. The Solarians, I'm not going to lie, I don't know. Actually, no, I'm going to say it is number 2. I think you made up the part about them living long lives and having, like, weird metabolisms.
That is 100% correct.
Oh, my God, I guessed.
I said that the Solarians have slow speech, are smooth talking, and have easygoing metabolisms. That's absolutely not true. They are a bunch of hyperactive freaks, and their metabolisms are so fast, their average life expectancy is 40. That is with advanced medicine.
That's crazy. I missed the slow talking part because I'm like, no, they're like jittery.
Yeah, they're little caffeinated freaks.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, you got it.
Sick.
I don't know what the score that puts you up to.
That puts me to
9?
11 and 9, and you're at 10 and 9, but again, you still have that one extra question.
Okay.
All right, so hopefully this one's not as confusing as the last one. Your theme today is starfighters. The TIE Interceptor was developed as a cost-cutting measure to the TIE Advanced. This maneuverable interceptor has been featured in movies, video games, books, and TV shows. It was considered to be the superior starfighter over the TIE LN fighter and was first seen at the Battle of Hoth on screen. Item number 2. The X-Wing was the Rebel Alliance and New Republic's iconic enforcement starfighter. With shields, lasers, missile payload capabilities, and a hyperdrive, this weapon was expensive but versatile. The X-Wing came as an evolution to the Z-95 Headhunter. Or a successor could also be a word for evolution there. Item number 3. The N-1 starfighter was utilized by the Royal Navy of Naboo in the defense of the planet. Anakin flies this starfighter into the Luke Hulk-class battlecruiser and blows it up from the inside. With lasers and missile capabilities, shields, and an astromech, it was a strong counter to the droid Vulture-class starfighter.
So again, I don't necessarily know that the N1 was a strong counter to the Vulture droid. Like, I think that's a little subjective. Like, it is a better starfighter, like 1-to-1, and probably a single N1 starfighter could tackle quite a few Vulture droids because Vulture droids are dumb as hell.
That is the point I was going for, because if you look at the size of the armies there, like, there are N1s that actually survived the Battle of Naboo, and there was like thousands of Vulture droids. So again, not saying that, like, I'm saying, like, in a 1-to-1 fight, the N1 is always going to win.
Okay, yeah, then absolutely my answer is the first one, because you said the Interceptor is a cost-effective method, or a cost-effective replacement to the LN TIE Fighter. That's not true at all. Like, the regular TIE Fighter was still way cheaper.
No, so let me clarify that. It was a cost-cutting measure as compared to the TIE Advanced, but it was a superior starfighter to the TIE LN.
Oh.
TIE Advanced being Darth Vader's starfighter.
I know that X1 TIE Advanced is Vader's ship. Sorry, can you read the first one again, then?
Yeah. The TIE Interceptor was developed as a cost-cutting measure to the TIE Advanced. This maneuverable interceptor has been featured in movies, video games, books, and TV shows. This was considered to be the superior starfighter over the TIE LN fighter and was first seen at the Battle of Hoth on screen.
I think the first time the TIE Interceptor was shown was in Episode 6, Return of the Jedi. Final answer.
That is 100% correct.
Yes! Finally, I got one! I'm on like a 10-question losing streak! God damn it! That is going to be so fucking annoying to edit because I'm screaming, but God.
Very nice, very nice. I was going to... you picked that one up perfectly. You survived, brother.
God, I'm dead inside.
We need to wrap this up. It's late.
Yes, it is.
All right, let me pop back over. We should probably save the rest of the news and do like a news gaming recap for next week.
Yes, I think I agree with that. Do you want to outro us?
Yes, I will. All right, with that here, guys, you guys got to hear us banter and go back and forth a little bit, as brothers do. Huge thanks to all of our patrons, Mike, Isaac, and David. Super excited to hear your guys' thoughts on whether or not lightsabers are exclusively a Sith weapon or not. So make sure you guys like and share this. If you guys don't already support us on Patreon, where we value your opinion the most because you pay us money, make sure to watch our videos on YouTube and interact with them. Follow us on social media because, like the Rebellion, we are everywhere. And I'm just going to say, check out our Etsy page. Our Imperial Cog logos are 50% off until the end of the month. So by the time you're hearing this, it will be only for one day. But I think I might extend that because we have a lot in stock and I want to get rid of them. Until then, everybody, may the Force be with you.